It's the dead of a New England winter, 1692, in the small isolated village of Salem. Suddenly, a strange and terrifying affliction takes hold of two young girls. They scream, twist their bodies into impossible shapes, and babble about spectral figures pinching and tormenting them. The local doctor can't find a thing wrong with them. And in a community steeped in the deep-seated fear of the devil, that could mean only one thing: witchcraft. And this was the spark that would ignite America's deadliest witch hunt. It was a firestorm of accusation and fear that would leave a permanent scar on the nation, and some say it also left behind restless spirits that still haunt the blood-soaked grounds of Salem to this day. It all started in early 1692. The violent, bizarre fits of 9-year-old Patty Parrish and her 11-year-old cousin Abigail Williams soon spread to other young women in the village, like 12-year-old Ann Putnam Jr. In this panic tightened its grip on the Puritan community, the girls were pressured to name their tormentors, and they pointed their fingers at three social outcasts: a beggar named Sarah Good, an elderly sickly woman named Sarah Osborne, and an enslaved woman in Reverend Parrish's own household named Tituba. And the public examinations began on March 1st, 1692. And while Good and Osborne insisted they were innocent, it was Tituba's confession, likely beaten out of her, that turned the growing paranoia into a full-blown crisis. And she spoke of signing the Devil's Book and seeing other witches in the colony. And her wild story gave the magistrates exactly what they wanted: proof. But the most damning evidence was the court's decision to accept spectral evidence. This meant that if an accuser claimed the ghostly apparition of an accused person was tormenting them, it was taken as solid fact. And in their world, the devil couldn't take the shape of an innocent person, so this was as good as a conviction, and the floodgates were officially open. And by May, the jails were overflowing, and Governor William V set up a special court of warrior interpreter, meaning to hear and determine to handle the crisis. And the trials themselves were a horrifying spectacle. The so-called afflicted girls would writhe and scream in the courtroom, claiming the specter of the accused was attacking them at that very moment. And on June 10th, Bridget Bishop, a tavern owner known for her sharp tongue, became the first person executed for witchcraft. And she was hanged at a barren ridge that would become known as Proctor's Ledge. And the hangings continued all summer. Respected community members like Rebecca Nurse and Sarah Good were executed on July 19th. And on August 19th, 5 more people were hanged, including the former minister George Burroughs, who stunned the crowd by perfectly reciting the Lord's Prayer from the gallows, something it was believed a witch could never do. But the most brutal death came in September. An elderly farmer named Giles Corey refused to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And for this, he was subjected to an ancient and brutal torture, being slowly crushed under heavy stones. And for 2 days he lay silent, and his only words were a defiant cry for more weight. Corey died on September 19th, but by refusing to plead, he protected his property for his sons. Legend says that with his dying breath, he cast a curse upon Sheriff George Corwin and all of Salem. By the fall, it was clear that hysteria had spun out of control. And when accusations started reaching the colony's most prominent citizens, including the governor's own wife, influential ministers finally spoke out against the use of spectral evidence. And on October 29th, Governor Phipps dissolved the court. The remaining prisoners were eventually released, and in 1697, the colony held a day of fasting and repentance. And in total, more than 200 people were accused, 19 were hanged, and 1 man was pressed to death, and at least 5 others died in jail. But the story doesn't just end there. Salem's bloody history gave rise to chilling ghost lore. And Proctor's Ledge, the confirmed execution site, is now a solemn memorial, but some visitors report a heavy atmosphere of sorrow, seeing strange mists and hearing disembodied whispers after dark. And it's said the spirits of Bridget Bishop, Rebecca Nurse, and the others are still tied to the land where they were unjustly killed. And what about Giles Corey's curse? Well, Sheriff George Corwin died suddenly just 4 years later at age 30 from a heart ailment. The local legend claims that every sheriff in Salem until the office was moved in 1991 either died in the office or retired due to a similar condition. And even the witch house, the former home of Judge Jonathan Corwin and the only building still standing with direct ties to the trials, is said to be haunted. And visitors report an oppressive feeling and the sound of phantom footsteps and the sight of shadowy figures in the windows. The Salem Witch Trials serves a terrifying lesson on the dangers of fear, extremism, and mass hysteria. And if you want to explore more of history's most haunting tales, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And the ghosts of Salem are more than just campfire stories. They are the echoes of real people who were stolen from their families and stripped of their names. And whether you believe in spirits or not, the tragic legacy of the witch trials haunts America to this day. A chilling reminder that the most dangerous monsters are often the ones that we create ourselves. Thanks for listening.